Welcome back to Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. My name is Joel Goldberg, and I usually do one of these a day. I think we might have a different audience tuning in here. I see them jumping in just right now, one at a time, because even though my main world is baseball, or at least it was, for 3 years, for those that don't know, I've had a speaking business, a podcast that goes with it called Rounding the Bases, really about leadership and all the lessons learned in baseball that translate into the what I call quote unquote real world. Most of us in baseball live in this fantasy land. It's a great place and a great bubble to live in. But I've tried to take and share a lot of that culture, so many lessons learned from Dayton Moore. So I kind of stay away from the baseball guests because, quite frankly, I do that when I'm at the stadium and don't really like to steal from one to the other, give these guys a break. But it's been so long since I've interviewed an actual Royal, and I've been sort of scheming for a while that once they were ready to get back, I wanted a guest, and I wanted that guest to be someone that could talk baseball, but also have the perspective of giving and being involved in a community during this pandemic. And my guest today is someone that I believe will start to emerge, already has, in our community and all the places that he has lived that makes a difference. I usually do this once a day at noon. I'm switching it to 9 a.m. daily. That'll happen even once baseball starts. But today I ended up with a triple header. So we had John Rulin, who has a company called Giftology, this morning. Just finished up with Pastor Armour D. Stevenson III, Pastor 83. Really, really informative discussion about racial injustice. And now I get a chance, thanks to Enterprise Bank and Trust, hashtag no stopping you, and my other sponsors, Casey Cattle Company up in Weston, Missouri, Wagyu Beef, Burgers, Steaks, veteran-owned and operated. Check them out. And JJ's Wine and Spirits in Overland Park. It's the southwest corner of College and Antioch. I'm racing through it because I want to get to my guest. I think we are all just craving baseball to come back, and I get to visit with my friend Nicky Lopez, who I feel like I've known for many, many, many years. We've known each other for a bit now. Nicky, I'll ask you the simplest question, and I'll tell everybody right now, this is good news. I've got to get Nicky out by 2:30 because he's got to go to work. He's got to go get a workout in at Kauffman Stadium. That's really, really exciting. Nicky, how are you doing, and how excited are you?
I'm doing great. Can't you tell by my smile? It's crazy because baseball has been taken away from us, and today it's like a kid in the candy store. It's our it's unofficial first workout, but we're going back. We got tests done. There's still some of my teammates still getting tested the next couple of days, but I get to go to Kauffman and get to go work out and kind of just go about my business. And you can just smell that baseball is right around the corner.
It's the weirdest thing, all of this. I mean, if you don't live in the baseball world, and all fans do live in it, but they don't necessarily see all the work behind the scenes. What they may or may not know is that baseball players, and athletes for that matter, are creatures of habit. They may have different habits, but you do this on this day and this on this month and this at this time of the morning. So what have the adjustments been like during these crazy times?
Yeah, it's been really, really weird. We had to kind of mold our schedule. So I started in Arizona. I stayed after spring training. I stayed there. So you can go to the field at certain times. We had to get our temperatures taken. You couldn't go about your business in a way that we couldn't go in like the locker room. Everything had to be outside. So that was different. Sanitizing everything after you're done using it, that sort of thing, wearing masks. And when I made the trip up after May, I decided to move to Kansas City a little earlier. And it was the same thing, but it was just being able to work at Kauffman Stadium. But it was just so different because, you're used to going to work every single day and seeing teammates and seeing everyone and being able to, hug them and, give them little dabs. But it wasn't the case anymore. And you were going to a field where you couldn't go inside. We're wearing masks, and you only see 4 or 5 people at a time because of the restrictions. So we had to kind of roll with the punches. But it was unbelievable how fast baseball and something you love can be taken away from you.
Yeah, let's not forget here. I know that you haven't. That you're still early on in your major league career. I mean, you've been a professional now for a bit and certainly played at high levels. But I don't care whether you're Nicky Lopez, Adalberto Mondesi, or whether you're someone like Alex Gordon that's been around a long time, or Salvador Perez. None of you have ever dealt with this, just like the rest of us in our lifetime. Same for your parents and everyone. Shout out to the Lopez family if anyone is eavesdropping while at work. They may not be, but up in Chicago. But this is, I mean, I mentioned routine. This is so new for everyone, and you guys put so much into taking care of yourself physically, mentally. What have the challenges been in getting yourself ready for a season that you didn't really know would happen or when it would happen?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, was that once it was March, I think it was like 18th, because my birthday was the 13th. We had an off day the 15th, and March, it was 18th. It got kind of taken away from us, and we were like, all right, what do we do now? It's going to be only a couple of weeks. So we trained the way that we thought, maybe it's going to be a 2 weeks or 3 weeks, maybe a month tops. So we were training hard. And then 1 month led to 2 months, led to 3 months. And you're like, all right, are we, in the back of your mind, or like, are we, working out for nothing kind of thing? Are we working out for, is it going to come back? But we had a lot of Zoom calls as a team, and Skip really put in our heads that, hey, train like it's going to happen soon, because you'd rather be more prepared than if you laid off the gas pedal and then it sprung up on you. So at least we were very prepared, and I think my teammates are, and I know I am, and I think we're just ready, and we stayed ready throughout the extended spring training, if you want to call that.
There's so many things I could talk to you about, and I think I've mentioned to you that this really usually isn't a baseball podcast. It's about leadership and culture, and but so many of the things that you at a young age are known for. I mean, I remember hearing about, before you even made your big league debut, about Nicky Lopez as a leader on the field, and a guy that likes that type of responsibility. And so my leadership question to you, because we'll have a lot of Royals fans watching this, and then we'll just have a lot of leaders in the community who probably are Royals fans too, is in the midst of all of this, you have a new leader. And talking to Mike Matheny, he spent a lot of time in the offseason trying to connect with guys, build rapport. There aren't a lot of professions where a new boss is hired, but he really isn't around his employees for 3 or 4 months, and now it's like 6 or 7 months. But what have you seen from him in terms of, not really different than Ned Yost, but what have you seen from him in terms of style and the way he's connected with you guys?
Yeah, in the only couple months that I've actually interacted with him, I've already learned a lot from him. I was fortunate enough, he gave me a book to read about, a Marine, and I read it, and it was unbelievable, just kind of about mindset and how they get through those days. But he is as intense as it gets. Someone that will go to war for you, someone that will go to battle, and someone that has your back, and that's what you kind of want. That's what you want in a manager. Someone who's gonna fight for you, someone who wants to win as bad as you do, and kind of sets the tone. And he set the tone from the first day of spring training. He obviously had us all around, and he had a team meeting, and kind of just told us, expect to win, because we have a damn good team in this locker room right now, and expect to win, because if you don't expect anything, if you expect something less, obviously it's gonna happen. So. Just the fire that he brings, the intensity, during practice, he's doing rundowns with us. He's, mingling with us during practices and stuff like that. So it was definitely a different change of pace, but something that I know that will probably pay off in the long run with, you look around our diamond and we have some studs out there. So he's just another piece to the puzzle.
Well, there's something to what you're saying, because not that you're expecting a manager to be out there running and doing all of those things, but I hear this in every profession. When the guy in charge is willing to do it, you're going to follow along. You don't need him running to motivate you, but how much does it sink in or affect you when you see him jumping into spots like that?
Oh, absolutely. You look at him, and he's basically the model, and I always think you're only as good as your leader. And he's going to lead our team, and You see someone who's out there running around, shows that he truly cares about us, and cares about this work, cares about the body of work, cares about the Kansas City Royals, and someone who will be there every step of the way for us. He wants us to be better, and it shows that. It shows that because he's on the field, he's working with us every step of the way. So, I know I've only known him or played under him for what was it, a month and a half in spring training, but I can't wait for the future for us.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and I think it's interesting too because, and I've been doing this since you were, I don't know, in grade school, maybe something like that. Well, shoot, I've been in the business since about when you were born, but I've been traveling for baseball since you were, a kid in the suburbs of Chicago, and I've never been to a spring training or heard of a spring training where a team says, "Yeah, we're not going to be that good. No, we think we could do it this year," which is the beauty of spring training. And
Right.
I'm not saying that's misplaced. If you are on a team and you cannot have belief in the group that you have, you probably shouldn't be there. With that said, you guys here, and hopefully a lot of you don't pay attention to what's on social media or the experts, but you guys weren't predicted to do this. And I thought it was interesting last week in a conference call with the media when people were asking Mike Matheny, they said, "Hey, now that it's a shorter season, do you feel like you've got new life?" And his response was, "Shame on us if we thought we didn't have life before."
Right.
So I'm wondering what your perspective is. The reality of it is that if you guys were by the experts, and I'll put myself in there too, not as an expert, but as one that believed that you guys are a couple years out, and I'd love to be proven wrong. But if you guys believed in yourself before, now what's the perspective knowing that in this marathon of a season, you got 60 games?
Oh yeah, we know it went from a marathon to a sprint, and we know we need to be better. Obviously, the past 2 years have been a little bit tough, but like I said earlier, you look around the diamond, we got some studs. We got Salvi coming back too. Gordo's back, which adds some leadership too, and we got some young guns coming up too. And we have a lot of pieces that are putting it together. But I mean, you were around spring training a little bit, and you can tell that the whole environment of the clubhouse and kind of the energy towards practice and the energy and intent was a little bit different. And I could kind of tell, and I could kind of feel it even during games. A lot more bounce, a lot more kind of expecting to succeed rather than wanting to succeed, and rather than waiting for someone to succeed. There was a lot more expectations, and that's something that I hold myself to a high standard. I hold myself to high expectations, and I think this team can go as far as we want if we hold ourselves to high expectations.
What about in terms of those high expectations for you? Because, I see in you, I know you're a leader. I know that you've had that role in the minor leagues at every step of the way. I know you had that role at Creighton. I'm going to assume that you had that role as a high school kid and Little League and all. I think that's who you are. I think that's the kid that your parents raised and your brothers mentored. You also know that there's a time and a place. I mean, I remember having this discussion many times with Whit Merrifield, who felt like he could help with that role, but he also understood that with an Eric Hosmer, a Mike Moustakis, that it wasn't his time until it became his time.
Right.
So how do you approach that now, knowing that you're still trying to prove yourself at the big league level, but I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, understanding that you have those leadership traits?
Definitely, and yeah, like you said, I've tried to lead, and I've been a leader of majority of my team since I was really young. I was fortunate enough in high school to win a leadership award called the J. Kyle Braid Leadership Award, and I went on a trip for 2 weeks in the mountains of Colorado and learned leadership skills and stuff. So leadership's kind of in my blood. And one thing that was different was when I got called up. Well, through the minor leagues, I was always, basically a leader on each team. And when I got called up, obviously we have Gordo, we have Witt, we have Dozier, and then obviously Kennedy, Duffy. It was kind of like I had to take a back seat, and it was something that I wasn't really used to. And it was something that I kind of had to learn from the outside, but I was learning a ton from what everyone else was doing, what Gordo and Witt were doing. And that was something that was very different for me, and something that hopefully, because I think personally, the way my body works, the way my game works, is that I play a little bit better, and I function a little bit better when I'm leading, when I'm more vocal, when I'm that aspect of the game. But it was something that I kind of had to take a step back and learn. And that's one character trait and one leadership trait that it's being a good listener. And I had to listen a lot more last year and learn a lot more that I think will be beneficial in my career in the long run.
No, it will. I have no doubt about it. You already have that in you, so you're not going to try to become something that you are not. It's just a matter of timing, and I fully believe that that'll take care of itself. But you've been in this organization for a while. That you know what this organization is about. I had somebody recently within the organization say to me that we're the anti. Well, just say it this way: we're the anti a-hole organization. That doesn't mean that every single person is going to be the greatest guy ever. But to me, what it does mean is it would take a mistake to bring someone in here that was just a bad personality,
Right.
and they do their homework. So there really aren't going to be any major surprises. Point being, they're not going to sacrifice the personality or the type of people they want for just the talent.
Right.
When I got here, they had to do that because they had no one when I got here. Or they didn't have a lot in '08, a young Alex Gordon, and they had to find talent, but they grew it, so they grew the crop of Hosmers and Mooses and then the Wits and now the Nickys and the Doziers and the O'Hearns and all of that. There's a common thread. And by the way, not everybody's the same personality.
Right.
You know this. You got loud guys, quiet guys, you got introverts, extroverts, you got people from all different backgrounds, but yet I've got a hard time picking out a bad guy in the group. That doesn't mean that they're guys that I connect with better than others. I try to connect with everyone.
Right.
But I want you to talk about the culture and what I've told people is that if the team has been down for a couple of years, it won't stay down long because while they're growing talent, the culture has remained. What kind of culture is taught from the moment that you get in the organization to the point where you get in the big leagues?
Yeah, it's a family. There's so much loyalty in this organization, and it starts from the top. We're blessed to have one of the best GMs in all of baseball. He sets the tone, and there is such thing as good people and good baseball players. So it's something cool, and our locker room is made up of all of that. And the thing about it is that it takes knowing who you are to have a team come together. And like you said, everyone's a little bit different, but we have our Latin speaking players that are unbelievable people, and then you have the Americans that are very good too. So all of us come together and we make up a pretty good product on the field, and it's only going to get better. I know that we're a really young team too, which is a really good thing. We're still all learning. We're still putting getting our feet wet in the major leagues, but like you said earlier, though, you got some quiet guys like Gordo, for instance, is not a guy who's going to be rah-rah, but he's someone that you can look to and model your game after because he just handles his business on the outside, and you kind of want to model your game after him because he works so hard, and then he goes and puts a really good product out on the field. So I can't say enough about my teammates. They're unbelievable, and we're only going to get better because I know that our farm system is pretty damn good too.
It's for a guy like you, and by the way, it's not a coincidence that they got you, and they have. I mean, there's a lot of homework done.
Mm-hmm.
When a Nicky Lopez is drafted out of Creighton, it's not like, hey, I wonder what this guy is, right? I mean, there are not one, two, but dozens of people that have their eyes and ears on what you're doing, and so it has to be really. I mean, look, you go where you're signed,
right,
and you go where you're drafted, and you just want to pursue your dream. But it has to be really fulfilling for a guy like you that I think embodies the characteristics of just a good person. And I've seen so many good people over the years come through the Royals, and you're right, it's not always nice guys finish last. Doesn't need to be that way. But it's got to be really fulfilling to you to be surrounded by character.
Oh, absolutely. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise to be, drafted by the Kansas City Royals. Did I know, because I grew up in Chicago, so all I knew really growing up was the Chicago Cubs, the White Sox, and then I rooted for the Yankees because I was a big Derek Jeter fan. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really know much about the Kansas City Royals until I got to Omaha, Nebraska, and played at Creighton. So they had a huge, obviously, Kansas City Royals following there, and followed the 2014, 2015 World Series runs, and then I got hear my name get drafted by Kansas City Royals, and then I obviously knew all about them after watching them, and I was like, wow, this is where I need to be. This is my home, and this is where I want to call home for 10 plus years, and hopefully I can do that. But just the way they go about their business, the way that everything is run, even when I got called up last year, just the way they put together plaques and all that stuff for each player. I don't think anyone else, any other team does that, and it's a testament to, and says a lot about our GM, and says a lot about our front office and organization, because I don't think other organizations treat their players the way that we do. So I say that because I really do mean it, and I think that this is home, and this is where I want to be.
It's no one should be accusing Nicky of sucking up to those that sign his paycheck. And I'm saying the same things, and I've watched it for 12 years. If it sounds like I'm sucking up to the organization that I'm involved with broadcasting, that's fine. But I go and talk to companies about this all the time. It's really what helped inspire me to go and speak, because I have had this shotgun seat to watching the right way to treat people and the right way to build culture in an organization, and to watch them go from, worst to first. I know it went back down, but I fully believe, because of everything you've just described, that this thing is going to go back up again. I know that you feel like it'll be sooner than what a lot of people think. We'll see what happens, but it's going to go there. I have no doubt about it, because of the collection of people and talent, for that matter, too. So, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was just non-baseball and being in the community, and that sort of ended up being the theme of my day in booking this triple header on Rounding the Bases Live, because so many guys on the team are active in the community, and it's important. It really is. But I want to know where you got that from, because I've heard every step of the way that you have been involved everywhere you've gone. Most guys understand it, but it does take a lot of effort to do all the extra stuff. Why has that always been so important to you?
It's how I was raised. I don't know if anyone knows my parents. They started it. They from a young age, they've kind of instilled that into my brain that, hey, like others, enjoy others' company, do things for others, because I'm a firm believer of karma, and that if you treat people the way you want to be treated, or treat people the way you want to be treated, because if you treat someone poorly, it's just gonna bite you in the butt in the end. So always lending a helping hand, always helping others out. I'm fortunate enough to have this platform now that I'll be able to use my voice and use who I am to others' benefit and to my benefit as well. So to be able to go out and help someone who's in need, it's not for me, it's for them, and it's something that I want to do, because I know I'm a baseball player, and it says Nicky Lopez plays for the Kansas City Royals, but I'm more than that, and I want other people to know that behind a uniform, it's someone who has a good heart and someone who actually cares about others.
Your parents raised you well, and you know what I think about them. I've had such a good time getting to know them, and your brothers too. Very much reminds me of the way I got to know the Hosmer family, and just you could just see, their influence in you. I haven't told you this, but I want to share a little video, and we'll see how the technology works here. I don't know if the audio will come through or not. It's nothing bad or embarrassing, but I run this sometimes during my speeches, and the whole point of it is talking about makeup. It's not just what's on the outside; it's what's on the inside, and everything we've been talking about. But and this, this you may or may not remember this, but I don't know if we hear the audio. Maybe we do. So this was after a game. Let's see if we can do this here.
20 pounds lighter.
Well, yes, you've put on some weight, and that's not including the hair. But I bring this up because I was standing in the spot where I had just done my post-game interview. We're in Anaheim. And so you probably remember that a little bit, although I think that you have those moments every single day. Let me make sure that I stop sharing this here now. And it's a long day. It's a Sunday. The game is over. We're hopping on a plane to go wherever we're hopping on to go, home, wherever. And guys have to get up and shower and get treatment, and you got a plane to catch and all that. And it's cool, those little dugout suites there. So when you get into the on deck circle on the first base side in Anaheim, you'll hear whether you're being razzed or whether it's fans. And these kids had all been, I suspect, asking for autographs, and it's hard to do there. And so you come out with like as many baseballs as you can. And I could hear the guy say, "Hey, when did you make the big leagues?" And you said, "Oh, earlier this week." And I show that video a lot because it was like you just remembered those kids and went back. And I think you do that in some form or another every single day. We've talked about why it's important, but how good does that feel?
It feels unbelievable. And I always say this is that these kids look up to us. Whether you're playing in rookie ball or you're playing in the big leagues, kids look up to us, and we were once in their shoes. I always say that I was once you guys looking at a professional athlete, and I just want to give back. And if that's signing a baseball, and they're going to be talking about that at dinner for the next week, month, year, that's how I want to be remembered. And I remember being on deck, and they were talking to me, and I think one of the kids kept putting his fist up to the net, and I would give him a fist bump every single time I would go. And I think it worked out for me because I had a pretty good series that series. But no, like I said though, I was in their shoes at once before, and you kind of remember the people who were very nice to you, but you also remember those that brush you off and don't really care for you, or don't kind of just ignore you. So that's what I try to do.
It's 2:28, and I've always said to players, I'm not paying your fine, which means that I'm not going to make you late for anything. So we'll wrap it up. I'll get you out of here in 1 minute. But that video in itself, you say you look lighter.
Yeah.
There was very short hair at that point. It looked more like minor league hair. And now, I mean, I don't know what, girlfriend, family, and everybody thinks of it, but it's a different looking Nicky Lopez and a more filled out. Tell me about whatever we want to call it, Nicky Lopez 2020.
No, I'm looking to build off of 2019. It was a roller coaster ride for sure. I know that you're going to take your bumps and bruises in the game of baseball, but I'm looking forward to it. I feel great. I bust my butt this off season, and I gained 20 pounds, and probably 10 of that is in the hair for sure. But I know we're ready. I've busted my butt, and I know my teammates are ready too. So we're looking forward to it. Even though it's 60 games, we're looking forward to playing all 60 games hard, and then do it again next year. So we're ready. That's all I can say.
I didn't get a chance to talk about testing, all that stuff. I'll talk about it once you're gone, because I want you to be able to get over to Kauffman Stadium, get that work in. It's good to see you. I know that we've texted here and there. It's good to see you, see the smile. It might be from a distance the way we're broadcasting. I think just like you guys, we're just happy to hopefully get back to work, entertain the fans, bring people something that gives them a little bit of hope, and lets you guys play the game that you love. So, Nicky, good luck this year. Stay healthy, and keep doing all the great work that you do for people, for kids, and in the community. I know you're just getting started. So thanks for spending the time today, my friend.
Thanks, Joel. Thank you for having me, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Yep, love to. Nicky, thanks. Have a good workout today, and I know Royals fans will see him soon, so let me let him drop off. Nicky, you can go. I know he's still sitting in there right now, but disconnect. He's gone. Let him get to work. I don't want to make anybody late. I don't want to hold the Royals back here. That is not my role, but really appreciative that Nicky was able to do that. Just a little bit of filling in the blanks. They're finishing up their testing. Nicky mentioned that their official workouts at Kauffman Stadium will be on Friday. There are a lot of things we still don't know. I don't know whether they're going to be fans at any point in the stadium or not. At least my opinion here is this, that they have to figure out a way to keep teams healthy while understanding that there are going to be some guys that get the virus. We're seeing, instead of a 25, or it would have been 26-man roster, they're going to start at 30 initially, and then work back towards that 26. But they're going to have a pool of 60 players, of minor leaguers and prospects to pick from, and they're going to be testing on a very, very regular basis. They have that ability, and so we know that this virus can show itself days later. So it's so hard to trace and know who is healthy, who's asymptomatic. But being able to test on a regular or maybe daily basis, I'm not sure is gonna, if not totally close the bubble. I won't be in a locker room or on the field this year, and you won't hear any complaints from me on that one. I just want to do my job in the best way that I'm able to, and within the rules and regulations of baseball that enable us to keep this thing going. And so hopefully we all have a chance to be a part of that. That includes the fans too. But I've wanted to have Nicky on for a long time. I wanted to wait till right about when we started the season because fans are going to start to see and understand. And he's a littler guy, smaller guy, but you can see he's bulked up. He's the type of guy that works hard. That's a great person. He's the type of person you would say anybody in Kansas City would love. But I actually kind of believe he's the type of guy that anybody would love in any market. We're just lucky to have him here. So I've been very lucky today to have the support of my sponsors, Enterprise Bank and Trust every day, hashtag no stopping you. And the Triple Header Tuesday, as it was billed, is coming to a close thanks to Casey Cattle Company, who has spent the last few months in partnership with me. And that's going to wrap up today. And I may have some stuff later in the year. I love those guys and certainly what they've done for this country as veterans. And then check out that Wagyu beef. And they're taking orders for 4th of July right now. So get those in burgers, steaks, bacon cheeseburger brats, you name it. And keep an eye on their social media too. The product is great. And again, they're veterans, veteran owned and operated up in Western Missouri. They deliver to all 50 states. Tomorrow is Wine Wednesday, 15% off bottles of wine at JJ's Wine and Spirits in Overland Park if you're down that way, southwest corner of College and Antioch. So back to 9 a.m., which is my new time tomorrow, Monday through Friday. That'll continue during the baseball season. If there's an occasional conflict, I'll move the time as needed. But a huge thanks today to, first off, John Rulin, who co-founded a company called Giftology. Really, really interesting stuff. Not just, hey, let's get somebody fancy gifts, personal gifts. There's a lot in the psychology of connectivity and making a lasting impression. Very much what Nicky Lopez just said about making that impression on a kid, signing those autographs and those balls. They'll never forget it for the rest of their lives. My second guest was Pastor AD3 from here in Kansas City. Very, very meaningful discussion, a long one about race and racial injustice, and I encourage everyone to check that out. And then Nicky Lopez, as the Royals are starting some of those informal workouts with the first of the official workouts coming on Friday. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you'll share all these episodes with your friends and network, and I will see you back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow for another edition of Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. I'm Joel Goldberg. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.